proceed to the next topic with the topic how to deal with stress at work. So I would like to introduce our next speaker. Uh, our next speaker is a graduate of the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, and she took her residency training in internal medicine in the same institution. Last year, she also finished her MBA at the Ateneo Graduate School of Business Regis program. So currently, she is a specialist in the field of internal medicine and have in clinical practice for the past 20 years. She is a consultant physician at 3 hospitals in Los Baños, Laguna, and soon will be starting her practice in Canlubang. She is also an incumbent member of the board of the directors for the Philippine Society of General Internal Medicine. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Barbara Ann Calderon to speak about how to deal with stress at work. Take it away, Doctora.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. Okay. Um, I'm very happy to be here and I'm happy to be able to talk about mental health. Okay, we will now be discussing about how to deal with stress at work. Okay, so there are two modes of work right now. It's work on site and work from home, and there are different factors that you have to consider for both. Okay, so we are all too familiar with this kind of picture, and we've all experienced this. Okay, so what is stress? Stress is any demand placed on your brain or physical body. Any event or scenario that makes you feel frustrated or nervous can trigger this. Okay? It is the harmful physical and emotional response that occurs when the requirements of the job do not match the capabilities, resources, or needs of the worker. Job stress can in turn lead to poor health and even injury. So what is anxiety? Anxiety is related to stress, but it's something different. Okay? Anxiety is a feeling of fear, worry, or unease. Okay? Sometimes it's an irrational kind of fear, and while it can occur as a reaction to stress, it can also happen without any obvious trigger. So this is the difference between the two. Okay. What are the symptoms then? There are many other symptoms that may not be found in the list, but these are some of them. So it may cause dizziness, muscle tension, digestive issues, including nausea and diarrhea, trouble sleeping, anger or irritability, headaches, increased sweating, feeling of overwhelm, restlessness, changes in appetite, and increase in heart rate. So we have to understand what work stress is for us to be able to address this. Okay. So in the workplace, when we go to the office, there are different kinds of stressors, and these are one of them. So first would be your workload. Okay. A heavy workload and long hours will make for overtired and stressed employees. Another would be unrealistic demands, which is closely related to the first. Okay, so this could create acute frustration and even anger if you have to be, say, in meetings the whole day, and yet you're expected to come up with a certain output at the end of the day. Another source of stress would be organizational change. There are so many changes taking place right now, whether it be a change in leadership, a change in divisions, additional products. So the need for certainty is one of the 5 fundamental domains which activates strong threats and rewards in the brain. So certainty is one thing that we need to have. Okay, so this is an all too familiar scene. This is how we are when we are stressed, okay? So other workplace stressors include career and job ambiguity, especially for women. Okay, when you have been in your position for say 2 or 3 years, you want to see and look forward to doing other things, better things, and moving up in rank. Okay, so a career path is necessary. Then there would be lack of recognition. Okay, sometimes that small certificate, no matter how insignificant it is to others, is a great help to each person. Okay, and then poor interpersonal relationships. You're not expected to be friends with everyone at work, so sometimes you will have to be able to deal with difficult persons or persons you don't get along with. Another stressor would include harassment, whether in the form of bullying or sexual harassment. Okay, and the last would be physical discomfort. So how to manage? Okay, how do we manage? Okay. So first would be for those, especially who have families, it would be to avoid the morning stress by starting the morning right. Okay, how do we do this? Okay, so you have to plan ahead. The day before, you have to plan out what time you're going to get up, what time you're going to cook, what time you need to get your kids fed and bring them to school. Okay, then you have to start with having very clear requirements on what you need to get done during the day. Okay, so you could plan this out the day before. You have to stay away from conflict. So like we all know, it's a very popular video right now, what happened at the Oscars, right? So what you have to do is to be able to walk away from any possible conflict. Okay, so if you are faced with any situation that will evoke a very strong reaction for you, quietly count 1 to 100 or whatever it takes for you to walk away. Then, of course, we stay organized. We have to stay organized in our minds and in our desks. Okay, there are many forms of organization for each individual. Okay, some would have very neat desks, and others would have messy desks. But you know what they say: some can work with controlled chaos. So whatever works for you, you have to work with that. Okay. And then you have to be comfortable. So you have to have a comfortable chair, a comfortable desk for you to maintain the right posture for you to be able to work the whole day. And then multitasking has been touted to be exceptional in a person. Okay, but we have to forget this. Right now, what we need to learn to do would be to focus on the task at hand and concentrate. Okay, so other things that you need to do. Okay, you have to keep perfectionism in check. Okay, because sometimes it's better to be done than perfect. Okay. Also, there are also online stresses that are specific to online work. Okay. And what is this? This is the lack of structure. Okay, first of all, you don't have your office space. Okay, your home is your office, and your office could even be your bed. Okay, so the lack of structure is difficult to handle, and there are too many distractions. Okay, it is very difficult to set boundaries, and social isolation also takes mental toll. Okay, less physical exertion also makes us less happy because exercise produces endorphins and makes us happy. Okay, how to manage? So we have to create a routine. Okay, if work is from 9 to 5, we need to create our hours to have fixed hours. Okay, we have to have a dedicated workspace. Okay, you put your computer in one place where you could go to and leave at a particular time of the day. You have to reduce distractions. So that means you have to tell your family not to disturb you on these certain hours. Okay, and you have to reward yourself for small successes. Okay. You have to learn to say no to the workload, because sometimes even if you are, you have deadlines for the day, you still have to be in meetings the whole day. So you have to learn to say no to some of these. You have to protect your sleep. We need to get 8 hours of sleep every day, no matter what our age, more for children. So although we've survived with 4 to 5 hours of sleep, this is not healthy. And then we have to practice self-care. So how employers can help? This is very important. Okay. So first, we have to establish reasonable workloads and expectations. If you keep your employees at work or in meetings the whole day, then maybe your deadlines should be pushed backward. Okay. You have to guide employees through change. You have to be able to help them transition to everything that's going on in the company. We have to provide a career path for each job description. Okay. Management also will have to recognize accomplishments of the employees and ensure a safe workplace, a workplace safe from bullying and sexual harassment. We have to provide resources to help meet mental health needs, and of course, to provide physical comfort.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bani, for the very informative and timely presentation about how to deal with stress at work. Kasi alam naman natin, galing tayong pandemic. So talagang napakahirap na mga transition na nangyari sa atin. So doktora, meron kami mga question na naka-ready rito.
Yes.
Pero hindi ito tungkol sa akin na hindi ako ang nagtatanong nito. Na timing lang na ako ang magtatanong. Number 1, doktora, how do you deal with a boss who stresses
So
you
for
out?
a boss who stresses you out, okay, first you have to ask yourself the question, why am I stressed out with my boss? Is it my workload? Okay, or is it something personal? Okay, if it's the workload, maybe you could address this by having a conversation with your boss. And boss, parang mabigat yata. Pwede bang bawasan natin yung requirements ko for the day, di ba? Kasi nasa meeting naman ako the whole day, so it will take me 2 to 3 days to accomplish this. Okay, or if it's personal, know what your boss's triggers are, and I will show you a slide for this. Okay, see. There are certain derailing traits, and they will manifest in certain ways, and there are certain coping skills. So these are not all of the derailing traits, but these are some of them that are very familiar with us. For example, if your boss is very excitable, okay, he will have intense mood swings. This is how it would manifest. And what would be our coping mechanism for this? You have to stay calm and wait for the storm to pass. Di ba? Hindi pwede. Count 1 to 100 or 1 to 1,000 kung pwede. Mahirap kasi, di ba? Uminit ang ulo. Okay? When your boss is skeptical, okay? And this will manifest, of course, as an inability to trust. Okay? You have to use data-driven arguments and do not question them. No? Do not be confrontational and don't expect them to trust you. But be guided by how he treats you. This is not personal. This is not because he doesn't trust you, but because he doesn't trust almost anything. Okay. So another derailing trait would be is if your boss is very cautious. Okay. So it will manifest as a fear of criticism, risk aversion, reluctance to embrace opportunities, and meron siyang anti-innovation bias. Pagbago ayaw, di ba? Parang you cling to what you're used to. So what you have to do would be to follow the process and move very slowly. Okay? Suggestions may sometimes help, pero tatimingan mo rin. Okay? You cannot just, slug on and push for change if they're not ready. Okay? Another derailing trait would be if your boss is reserved. Okay, so ibig sabihin, this will be manifested as inexpressiveness, no? Parang hindi mo makausap, or some others would say, dead ma, okay? So what you do, you communicate via email rather than face-to-face, and don't put them on the spot, and you respect their privacy and their boundaries. So these are just an example of a few of them.
Thank you very much, Doktora. So, magagamit yan ng mga co-PCOs natin in dealing stress. Di ba? Especially sa boss. Kasi alam naman natin, hindi lang sa trabaho may boss, pati sa bahay may boss. So anyway, second question, Doktora. If you are stressed, when is the right time to seek advice from a medical expert?
Okay. Stress comes in many forms, like I said. I would always say talk to a friend. Okay? Because friends help a lot. Okay, but if you start to feel that your friend can't help anymore, and these are other circumstances, of course, that you will have to get professional help. Okay, when your anxiety or your stress will start to interfere with personal or professional relationships. Okay, when it creates persistent sleep issues. So there are some who can't sleep already for 2 to 3 days. So this is not a good thing. Okay, when your ability to concentrate is affected, when it stops you from doing the things that you enjoy, when it fosters a sense of self-loathing or a feeling of worthlessness, if it isolates you from others, and when you start to have suicidal thoughts, even if it's just, outbursts of thoughts, then it's time to seek help.
Thank you, Doktora. So talagang mahalaga na let's always parang prioritize ourselves, lalo-lalo na itong sa mga ganitong situation nga na minsan hindi natin napapansin may mental health problems na pala tayo. So, meron po bang mga organizations or associations offering free counseling or consultation services for mental health needs?
Okay. So I was trying to look for one from Region 4A, and I'm not aware of it, but there is a trunk line to the National Center for Mental Health. The landline is 1556. Okay. The mobile phone is 0966 351 4581. So you may address your concerns here. Okay, but if there are other services, paid services, of course, and you could always get in touch with us at Los Baños Doctors Hospital because we have very capable psychiatrists and a psychologist also practicing in our hospital.
Thank you very much, Dr.